Hey everyone, CJF Hotshot here. Welcome back to the Big Flash Retrospective. Last time we finished off on the Flash 2021 annual, so let's just take a bit of a checkpoint and say that the Flash fan base, again, was over the moon at this point. This is mid-July 2021 we're talking about, and Flash 772 literally would come out a week later. So not only did we get Wally West's return as the Flash in the last few pages of the annual, but we wouldn't ever feel cheated about it because we'd see how that would turn out during the next issue, which was next week, because the 2021 annual came out 2 weeks later than it should have. It's fun when it feels like we got a bonus in July instead of a bonus in June, because, like, you know, I know, it didn't come out on, like, the typical annual week, I'm guessing is what I'm trying to say. But the 2021 annual was so hype, and so was 772. It was literally, like, the summer of Wally West. Because, like, the previous year was the summer of Barry Allen, this is the summer of Wally West. Yeah. So, let's just get into it all. Of course, like, preview pages were leaked a few weeks before the issue came out, and I know it was weeks before, because I remember, our profile pictures on my school stuff when I was doing my A-levels were the image, like the last few weeks, like last week or two of my first year of A-levels were of the Flash. So that was pretty funny. And it was like from 772. And yes, 772 and 773 have a new artist. That's going to be something that we explore kind of like throughout the run, where we just keep swapping artists until we get a relative mainstay, but still keep swapping artists. But the artist for Flash 772 and 773 is Will Conrad. He drew a few Flash issues during the Kevin Shinnick arc, along with Clayton Henry, when the Flash was in its last month of being twice monthly. So yeah. And let's just talk about the covers of Flash 772. The first cover is just a picture of Heatwave by Brandon Peterson. Brandon Peterson has been demoted, well, not demoted, that's rude, has been moved to being the cover artist of the run until June of 2022. Yeah. So we have a year of Brandon Peterson covers, with the exception of two of them. And one of them will be talked about in this video. But the main cover is just of Heatwave burning something. It's really cool. But the variant cover by Brett Booth is one of my favourite covers of The Flash ever. I'm a big Brett Booth fan. I'm going to be talking about the covers from here on out until 1 Minute War, where I'll talk about a few. But yeah, I say we just straight up talk about The Flash 772 now. The Flash 772 opens with Wally having an anxiety attack as Linda shows him the bills. And she's just like, hey, yo, Wally, you gotta get a job, or at least, ask your $1 billion friends for money. Like, Dick Grayson's a billionaire now, Wally. You can call him, surely. And Wally's just like, no. If I'm getting money, I'm getting a job, Linda. I just came back. How did the bills get this high? And Linda's just like, hey, I have 2 speedsters and a kid with super strength in this house. I'm the breadwinner in this house. I can't feed all 3 of you. Like, come on. So, Wally commits to the job hunt, as Jai and Ira are, circling around the house. It's a very funny scene. It's very entertaining to me. It also kind of foreshadows for later, where we get an encounter with one of those billionaire friends. But I like the idea of Wally being like, no, I can't take a loan from my billionaire friends, of which I have a couple. I'm thinking he's thinking Dick Grayson and Mr. Terrific right now. And those two, because he's not going to call Batman. I say that Batman's a millionaire now, not a billionaire. That's an interesting development that I think is very funny, but not important at all. But we cut to Heatwave. He's at the doctor's, just having an appointment, where he finds out that, he's known for a little bit already that he's had cancer, but he finds out that the cancer is spreading, and that is stage 3 or 4, he's dying very soon. and the doctor said you should spend the rest of your time left doing what you love. So he goes to the car and grabs the heatwave suit and starts planning his last hurrah, you should say. This is a side note. Apparently, what's giving heatwave cancer is the asbestos in his suit, which is actually it makes sense because firefighters and people who work with fire die really young because of the asbestos, but also being exposed to that much fire. No matter how much protective gear you have, if you're just a regular dude, you just don't have that good of a lifespan after. You get lung problems and everything. So it doesn't surprise me that Heatwave has a bit of a health condition right now. So yeah, he gets told what to do, what he loves to do, as he just gets his gear and just says, you know what, if I'm dying from the fires I caused anyway, I might as well make some more. So we cut to the Flash on the job hunt. He's just like, all right, Central City. He's moved to Central City now. I'll get into that in a minute. All right, Central City. I'm going to go to all of the places that I went to when I needed a job for some extra money as a kid. I'll go to the garage to see if they'll hire. What do you mean it's a coffee shop now? Come on. So yeah, he circles around some places, does some interviews. It's a really great montage. Jeremy Adams is really good at doing comedic timing scenes. We see it with Will Conrad's art right here, but I think it's especially enhanced whenever Fernando Pazrin's on art, which we will get to in a later episode. But yeah, he's on the job hunt. And he basically has to maintain his CV on the fly, explain why he has gaps in his CV, why he looks disheveled because he can't afford a suit because he's broke. It's just very funny. So he ends up getting a job at a car wash, but specifically a car wash owned by Mr. Terrific. The lady who's getting a car washed by Wally, his first customer, is just like, "You're shit, Wally West, I can't believe I paid for fast service when the car washer's trying to give it to me. Look at this detail. I don't want a 1 hour car wash. I want it to be done in 5 minutes. That's Karen energy. But I really think it works for this scene, you know? I'm very hyper right now, but I think it's great for recording right now. So yeah, Mr. Terrific pulls up because he owns the car wash and found out that one of the new employees is Mr. Wally Rudolph West. No. I need him working for me. I need to talk shop with him. So Michael arrives and essentially relocates Wally to Terrifitech Central City, where he has a more productive research-based job in mind. Of course, Wally's anxious because he is think about not wanting to take handouts from billionaires. But Mr. Terrific's just all right, look, Wally, you have a unique perspective on the world, being that you've been through time and space and alternate dimensions, and we could really use your help on the hyper time machine, because I'm making a hyper time machine. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, Wally's in a research-based position, but he doesn't want to take the handout from Mr. Terrific. But then Mr. Terrific's just like, this isn't a handout, this is you getting a job, and it helps me more than it helps you. Also, here's what your paychecks will look like, and you'll be getting free lunches. And you see dollar signs light up in Wally's eyes, and it's just like, oh my god, Wally. You just see dollar signs light up in his eyes. Not literally, it's not shown by the art, but you can tell that's what he's thinking. So he takes the job at Terrifitech. So job hunt successful. Wally takes the job and heads downtown. Downtown to deal with a fire, because it turns out one of the perks of working at Terrifitech is that since your Mr. Terrific is your boss and will likely be watching the news about what the Flash has been doing, which you actually see in the next run of The Flash by Simon Spurrier, that he does keep tabs on all the speedsters, that he doesn't need to come up with an excuse to cut work. He just cuts work, deals with Heatwave, and then goes home. So that's what he does. He heads downtown, he evacuates a burning building. As he's listening for people screaming, Heatwave kicks the Flash's shoulder and makes his escape. And that's where we cut off. issue 772. I really like this issue, but I could have sworn there was something else in my notes. Oh, between the Flash montage of his job hunt and Mrs. Terrific giving Wally the job, a glaive flows across space. What is this glaive? Why is it so mysterious? Ooh. Yeah, it's on a weird line in my notes, which is I kind of skimmed over. But yeah, that's Flash 772. I really enjoyed this issue. It really felt like a return to form for the Flash. It's I've said this before, Flash 772 is continuing off on the Flash as if the Wild West era never ended, and it just has a permanent writer now in Jeremy Adams. Obviously, Wally's characterization is a little different. I'll get to that in a bit as well. Yeah, it does continue on as if the Wild West era never ended, or perhaps did end, but is now back after Wally went through some therapy. It's pretty cool. Yeah, editorial mandate. A couple of things. Well, actually, one thing for now. Wally is in Central City instead of Keystone City. We don't know why, except for DC editorial said so. So that's fun. Jay Garrick's in Keystone, though, so Keystone does have its protector. So that's what we're going with. It's just Barry's off elsewhere doing multiversal travel guides. So Wally's taking Central and Jay's taking Keystone. Just like the old days where they both took Keystone, because yeah. Wally's job is important as Terrific is figuring out how Hypertime and the Omniverse works. Yeah, this will actually come up in later issues of The Flash. Specifically later issues of The Flash, but also during crisis events, and event tie-ins and crossovers. It's really important. It's just this is what Wally's been working for. So we just assume that he does a lot of it off screen. Also, it helps because Wally now has a permanent person to talk superhero shop with Mr. Terrific, and he has a bit of guy in the chair moments with Mr. Terrific without it being a guy in the chair, because previously it was Piper, but since Wally kind of works alone sometimes, we don't really get that, Also, design notes. Wally's 90 suit has the New 52 logo on it, which is technically Wally's logo first, as he did wear it in some Titans issues before Barry Allen came back to life. But this is kind of foreshadowing the imminent costume change that we will talk about an episode or two down the line. Don't worry about it. But let's talk about Flash 773. Brandon Peterson does a main cover again. It's of the Flash getting burned by Heatwave. It's an okay cover. And then the variant cover is by Jorge Corona, who's taking up variant cover duties. It's okay. I like it. I think I went for the main cover, though, for this one, whereas 772, I went for the Brett Booth cover. Flash 773. So Wally escapes the burning building and asks if the firefighters need any help. And then they're just no, you did your job, Flash. No, that's you was. And Wally's just you guys are the real heroes here. Oh shit, right, I do have to go back to do my job. In a bit, boys. So yeah, that is quite fun. So Wally heads back to work, and his newfound co-workers that he just met today, are troubleshooting a problem of what's wrong with the aluminium rods. Wally says the problem is that the metal that they're made of aluminium. He said that experience with temporal and multiversal energy, he finds that copper and silver work as better conductors. Silver works better than copper, by just a margin, but copper is cheaper. So they tell him to, essentially, they tell Wally to order copper rods as a fire breaks out at the pier, and Wally's just sitting there, just bored because he figured out how to order the copper rods, and now he's just and he's just oh yes, fire at the pier. Oh no, fire at the pier, and he just has a smile on his face. I love the comedic timing. That's what Jeremy Adams sells that, But we cut to Yellow Lantern Jessica Cruz in space as the glaive breaks through the fear-based constructs. Now, Green Lantern. I'm talking about Green Lantern now. You can't stop me. So Green Lantern at the time, the book by Geoffrey Thorne, all of the Green Lanterns were out of commission except John Stewart. Literally all of them. DC asked Jeffrey Thorne, what are you going to do with the Green Lantern mythos? There's a whole universe here, and he's just like, I'm going to make it so that they're all inactive. Kyle Rayner is suffocating in space. That's all we really know. And John Stewart and like Teen Lantern and Hal and Joe Mullen are the only Green Lanterns. So Jessica Cruz is the Yellow Lantern now. So when Jeremy Adams asked for, can I just have like 2 random Green Lanterns encounter the Glaive, DC editorial hit him with the no, because Green Lantern has no Green Lanterns. No random Green Lanterns. So you have to use Jessica, and you have to use her as a Yellow Lantern, which is just, sure. I guess I do have some comments on how, like, Jeffrey's opinions on, like, how superhero mythos work, like, at a core level. You know? Because, like, actually, I don't have to talk about that, because I'm not talking about Jeffrey Thorne's Green Lantern. Yeah, so Wally evacuates the pier and drowns Heatwave's fire in a whirlpool and makes an action figure for a kid because the kid said, my teddy got lost in the fire, and Wally's just like, and then Flash is just like, kid, don't worry, I'll get something for you. I'll make sure that it was all worth it. So as he puts out Heatwave's fire at the pier with the whirlpool, Wally snatches a robot toy for him, and he's just like, here you go, kiddo. Yeah, great scene. So Mick attempts, like, pull, like, can I say this word on YouTube? Let's find out, shall we? A kamikaze attempt as he tries to kill himself and the Flash as he goes on a not long-winded rant, but this is a very big mental health scene where he's, like, letting his guards down, and he's just telling the Flash, just like, what is the point of me living, Flash, when I don't have that much time left, and everything like that. And the Flash is just like, hey, look, we just make best with the time we have in the world. Like, this is a very big scene because it's kind of, like, proved Jeremy's mettle as, like, a writer of comics. This and the 2021 annual, I think. Because this kind of, like, proved Jeremy's mettle in the sense of writing believable Flash Rogue relationships. Whereas, like, we compared this to Barry, and he literally, like, stares down Captain Cold, and he's just like, criminal scum, Flash, Rogue's Reign. And then here's Wally just like, hey, yo, Heatwave, this is not the way, man. And the police were also like, do you really have to be that easy on him, Flash? I mean, he did almost try to blow up the pier, and then Wally's just like, no. That won't get us anywhere. Because if he breaks out, and he's in the bad mindset because no one's tried to convince him otherwise, he will do it again. Whereas if he gets rehabilitated and say he's broken out, he won't. Yeah, you know? See, I like that mindset, and the idea that Wally, like, more fully-heartedly believes in rehabilitation now. It kind of shows, like, Wally's character growth, as well, considering he was once a hard-headed hero, and now he's more just like, he's like tuned himself into the perspectives of the younger people around him, and all the stuff around here is in crisis, and it's just like, you know what? Yeah, so he's a bit softer now, and I really like that. So Wally heads back to work, installs the copper rods at super speed. Again, another perk for working at Terrific as the Flash is that you can do your work at super speed, and Mr. Terrific won't tell you off because you're doing your work. And then he tells his co-workers that he's done the job, and they tell him, you know what? That's all we really needed you for today. We'll give you proper work tomorrow. So he heads home and has dinner with Linda and the kids. We cut to Heatwave being recruited for the Suicide Squad, but we're not looking at Suicide Squad. I say that we are not looking at Suicide Squad portions that are related to Amanda Waller and Heatwave. We're looking into a crossover with them later, but only specifically Flash and Teen Titans parts. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, Flash 773. I really like Flash 773. It came out 20-ish of August, and I got the physical copy exactly on my birthday, because, like, if you order in the UK and you order off Forbidden Planet, sometimes, like, shipping can be a bit weird, but it was weird, but it, like, landed as if it's just like, a present for you, sir, and it's just like, oh, wicked. So yeah, I got it for my birthday, like the physical copy. It's just like, yeah, I really like that. Also, the colouring here, I really like the colouring, and I'm going to compliment the colouring here because it's done by Alex Sinclair, who just randomly shows up in DC's catalogue because Jim Lee doesn't draw at DC anymore. So Alex Sinclair does Flash 772 and 773, and oh boy, can you tell that he colours it here when we get some new colorists later with the same artist. Yeah, there's a lot of shine in it. Some pages look better than others, I will say, with the colours, but it all looks fantastic, and it's all like really sold really well. So yeah. Alright, so if you were on Twitter in September of 2021, you know this. If you weren't, and you're only finding out about Jeremy Adams' Flash run lately, you're finding out now. So Flash 774 was actually written, of course, by Jeremy Adams, but also co-written by one of his daughters as like a writing exercise, I think. So it's a bit different in that respect, and that's the only comment I'm going to make on that is that it's written by Jeremy and his daughter. Also, 774 was drawn by Christian Deuce, who became famous as a comic writer because Joshua Williamson found him on Instagram. And of course was the B artist of Joshua Williamson's Flash run throughout the Force Quest and stuff. I think Christian Deuce's first issue of the Flash was a 2017 annual where Wally came back. So that was pretty cool. Like, Wally came back to the books. He has experience drawing Wally West, just in a less good suit. And now he won't be drawing the Flash in any suit. And you'll find out why. And, yeah. So, we get a Flash famous artist back for one more stint. And the covers, this time, not Brandon Peterson, surprisingly. The main one is by Brian Hitch. And the B cover is by Jorge Corona. I think I got the Brian Hitch cover. I'm pretty sure I did. There is something a little different about these covers. Something about the costume. I can't tell right now, specifically because we're going to mention it in another episode. But just know, I know what's different about these costumes, and it will be important later. But for now, it is oh my god, why does the costume look different? Trust me. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even show up within the issue. So, in Flash 774, there's a new villain called Dr. Nightmare, who is making people's nightmares come to life. And that is pretty cool, because it's a very Saturday morning cartoon type plot where it's just like, we are going to do the dream episode. Wally's getting anxious because he's about to go on a father-daughter dance with Iray, at Iray's school, at Giant Iray's school. And he's worried about being late and also having the existential crisis of time passing by and what if he gets old and yada yada yada, what happens when Giant Arrow grow up. Like, he's having that anxiety attack that he doesn't have to worry about because he's a comic character. Then again, he also probably still has flashbacks to when Giant Arrow literally aged up in the blink of an eye in Fast Money, so who knows. So Wally and Iray go into the car as Dr. Nightmare puts everyone in Central City to sleep. So the traffic is fantastic for Wally and Iray. They just drive there. Wally and Iray have a conversation, and we see Jeremy start to write, give Iray a little focus. Like, this is the first time that someone except Wally got focus in this book. So we kind of pull back to Wally's supporting cast just for a little bit, but just for Iray for now. I sounded really evil when I said for now. I meant for now. As they show up to the father-daughter dance, Wally and Iray find out that everyone there has passed out on the floor. And Wally's just like, I wanted to make the big entrance and nobody listened. Also, their powers don't work, except that they kind of do. Because what's happening is because everyone's asleep, Wally and Iray are tired enough to where they can't use their powers, but their powers are keeping them awake. The Speed Force is just like acting as like a protective bubble for them. That's what the Speed Force is doing. Don't ask any questions. But they see Dr. Nightmare rampaging throughout the city, going to Wally West's workplace. It's just like, why are you going to Terrifitech? So they give chase. We don't know if it's in Wally's car. I think they just walk because like traffic is deadlocked because everyone's asleep at the wheels. So Dr. Nightmare breaks into Terrifitech and essentially steals all of the stuff that he believes rightfully belongs to him, and we will expose Mr. Terrific for being a fraud. Something like that. Mr. Terrific, though, he's a really good guy. Iray sneaks in and steals the Nightmare hat, but the dream monsters that Dr. Nightmare has made give chase. However, Iray still stole the hat, so as soon as Wally hides her in a corner, Wally sings her to sleep, and she makes her own dream monsters, and they fight all the Nightmare monsters as Wally punches Dr. Nightmare in the face. It's a very cathartic issue. But the main point of this issue is that now that Wally and Iray's powers are back, they actually can't go to the dance anymore because it did take them a few hours to actually get to Terrifitech. So the school dance is over and it's past Iray's bedtime, but Wally's just like, you need to go to the dance. So they run to Paris and they dance to what seems like a shooting star. And as Iray makes a wish, the shooting star lands in the central keystone area, which turns out to be the Glaive. All in all, it's a Power Lost story that I like because A, it only lasts for one issue, and B, it is essentially like a Saturday morning cartoon adventure. It was really nice to be excited for this book. This is obviously the one-off issue, but it was a really good one-off issue, if that helps. It was great to have Wally be not traumatized as he sets into the new status quo. As we can tell here, Wally's characterization is very much the I am the hero of the story, but he's also like the very like overprotective father that he's always been, but he really does take the I'm the adventurous parent in the parenting now, because he's settled into the idea of being a father, whereas before he was very anxious about it. He now knows how he operates with him and his kids and like the family unit. Like he fought so hard to have him back, and now he's just kind of like relishing in the mundanity of the civilian lifestyle as a superhero who has a job. Also, I don't know, the monster designs are pretty cool. It was quite cool that they showed up for an issue, and we'll kind of see a lot of like the idea of the Flash just fights everyone now throughout the next like few arcs of the Flash. But before we go into any other arcs, I should preface this by saying we are not going into the Eclipse arc for the next time. We're going to do it in the time after that. Next time, we are going to zone in on Wally's appearances in a couple of other books that are being published at the time, specifically Superman Son of Kal-El, and specifically Titans Academy. I've kind of talked about Son of Kal-El before, but I do want to talk about these issues as it relates to being a Flash reader experience, and if I remember anything else from roughly this time, I'll talk about it. So yeah. That was the video. Subscribe for more. Like this video, comment, do whatever you need to, and we will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.